Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on June the 30th in the year of our Lord 2026, the last day of the month. Amazing how time flies when you're having fun. Down here in Arkansas at Aunt Sue's, kids are having a blast. It's nice and warm down here, although it's not much warmer down here than it is here in Indianapolis and across the Midwest. Of course, you know, the deep state and the lying legacy media is screaming about global warming and climate change and all that. But of course, you know, they do that all the time, so it's nothing new. You just get tired of listening to it. Okay, let's go ahead and click over here to Murtech on Rumble. And this is my Rumble channel here. And the video that we're watching tonight is episode 1964. Let's jump into that. And let me go ahead and pause that. And hi, Debbie BS. I'm glad you could join us. I'll get back with you momentarily. Let's slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from John Fredericks Network, also Benny Johnson, Matt Morse TV, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I do need to give some shout outs to, let's see, Gransu FA, sorry, gave us a nice comment here about Dan Bongino. Also, we have C.O. Morgan just started following my channel. Caddis Joan just started following my channel. Joe Slim 65 just started following my channel. Teller 67 just started following me. 888 Kish just started following me. Winnie Mac just started following my channel. And WK Sears just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1963. Grand Sue FA and Pav JJ58 just gave me a comment on my daily news wrap up. Grand Sue FA, sorry, commented on my episode 1959. Viper Senior commented on my episode 1963. And Grand Sue FA commented on my episode 1964. Also, Debbie BS commented on my extra 746A, 746B, and 746C. So thank you very much, folks, for your comments and reposting my videos. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. So let me give this a thumbs up. All right, let's jump back up here and see what we've got going here with John Fredericks Network, the John Fredericks Show, live TV and radio. Let's jump into that and see what he's talking about here.
For you, this is not about me or my narrative or what I think. It's about what you think. That is the beauty of this show. It's one in a kind. Our whole network is different than anybody else out there. We know our lane, and we're in really good shape. News, talk, sports, baby, right here. This is where you get it on the John Fredericks Media Network. And thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Friday's a day off for our company, so we got a short week coming up, so I'm excited about that. And get another day to spend with the fam. Joe's home, so he's not pitching this summer. This is the first time he's not pitching this summer in years. So, he has to do rehab every day. So they wanted him to stay at the on campus, but he's 8 metro stops away. So it's the same thing. I mean, he goes there in the morning, gets back at 5 o'clock, like a job. He's got stuff to do there in his rehab, but it's great having him home. And, I cherish every day because I know the window is short. So let's see what else is going on in the fam. We got Joe's girlfriend, the soccer player. She's a, junior soccer player, D1 soccer player with the University of Maryland, Fear the Terps. Ella is coming for dinner tomorrow night, so we're excited about that. And get a chance to see her again at her summer soccer is over. She starts, I think they start in the middle of July. They start back practices because that's a false sport, right? Soccer. Yeah. So they start back. So she's getting back dinner with her tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. Her and Joe. And everybody's doing fine. Good to have you with us. Hope your families are doing well also. So once again, we get kicked in the teeth by the uh, by the by the Barrett Roberts axis. That's really what it is. It is amazing that they vote as a team. Like the three liberals always vote as a team because they're libtards, right? So you expect that. But this is the Roberts the Roberts Barrett axis. Like there's never 5-4 or it's always either 6-3 or 5-4. 6-3 or 5-4 their way. It's never 5-4 our way because they vote the same way. What do? Like have a meeting and decide we're always going to vote the same way? I mean, think about it. When is the last time Barrett and Roberts didn't vote the same way? They vote as a block. So basically, they have decided as a block. I'm not going to call them out. They've decided as a liberal block to block the conservatives. Because if they were divided 50-50, 50% of the things that doesn't pass that the four conservatives vote for would pass. So they vote to stop the conservatives. It's like a coup. It's like a Supreme Court coup on these mail-in ballots. I mean, allowing mail-in. What is the deadline? They don't even have a deadline. Yes, as long as they're postmarked by election day, you can receive them up to what? A month later? Like a year later? They didn't even put a deadline on it, right? The mob intimidates these people. And so one of our callers who was saying, oh, the Supreme Court tipped their hand in the mail-in ballots. No, they didn't. They voted no. Unbelievable. Now, birthright citizenship is coming up today. That's going to go down, and that's going to go down 5-4 or maybe 6-3. It's going down. They're not going to rule in our favor. They're not even going to carve out the Chinese that come here to birth their babies so they're citizens so that they can do a mail-in ballot from China. Think about how ridiculous this country has become, right? Anybody can vote, don't need ID, don't need anything. You just vote, and then you have a baby, you're pregnant, 7.5 months, 8 months, the CCP puts you on a plane, you come to U.S., you go to a hospital, you birth the baby, you get their certificate, you fly back, and when they're 18, they're voting in U.S. elections. They're a U.S. citizen. They're entitled to benefits. It is the most insane. No country can operate this way, but yet we do it, and we got the Barrett Roberts left-wing axis. It's like the Axis powers. I mean, come on. They block us. They vote they vote in a pack. It's just unbelievable. Here's your legacy, Roberts. You've aligned yourself more with the three communist libtards than you have with the conservatives. That's your legacy on this court. Obamacare is your legacy. I mean, where's Kennedy when you need him? I mean, I'd take him back in a heartbeat. Barrett is the worst pick we've ever made. The worst. I thought she'd be the best. She's the worst. Absolute waste of my time. Oh, I'm going to do whatever John does. Oh, I'm going to do what John does. Are we going out tonight, John? We going to dinner, John? Can we have a meeting, John? Can you tell me what to do, John? Can I vote like you, John? I want to be just like you, John. I want to be just like you, John Roberts. Yeah, I'm a little John Roberts clone. I'm going to vote just like you, whatever it is, John. Just tell me what to do, Johnny boy. This is what we're dealing with as a Supreme Court. And the Democrats, the liberals want to pack it. That's not good enough. Unbelievable. Okay, we got a lot to go over today. Birthright citizenship. That's going to come out at 10. We already know what the answer is to that is. Not good. Not good, right? Not good. Trump's going to lose that. But hey, here's the good news. We did win a couple cases. And the best case we won is we can get rid of the Haitians that are here on TPS. Oh, remember, that was supposed to be 18 months, turned into 18 years. This country is so screwed, man. It is really unbelievable to look at what is going on a daily basis and see these communists winning everything. And the popularity that Mandami has is hilarious. It's hilarious Because why is he so popular? Look how popular he is in New York. Everybody loves him. His approval ratings are 65%. They all love Mandami. Why do they love Mandami? Because he's giving you stuff for free. He's giving you stuff. When he runs out of stuff to give you, then you get the riots. Just fasten your seatbelts, right? All this is coming down the pike. This is why I'm so bullish, and I know we're going to win. No doubt about it. We are going to win. Meantime, John Thune won't get the SAVE Act done. So Corey Lewandowski, classic yesterday, right, says, okay, John Thune, I got a news flash. We're going to primary you in 2028, and you're going to get crushed like Cheney did, or any of these other liberal rhinos. Cassidy, Cornyn, Tillis couldn't win. You name them, they're going. McConnell, all of them are going. And guess who we're going to run against him? Now, this is not $64,000 question. But when you get Corey Lewandowski coming on my show, by the way, he was on for 45 minutes, like Lewandowski unplugged. Was that fun? Come on, guys, whether you like him or not. I love the fact that he just comes on and answers questions. I didn't say anything. I asked maybe 10 questions in 45 minutes, rapid fire, ending with the hapless Red Sox that did win again last night. I thought about betting him, only because he said they've won 2 in a row. I thought about betting 2 teams. I was so close to pick. I picked 2 out of 3 last night. And ever look at games? Sometimes I look at games, and I'm like, I was like right there. I'm like, yeah, it's tough to bet on the Red Sox. I like the Dodgers. They were only minus 120 last night. But, A's are tough at home. They got their best pitcher going. Dodgers had their worst. But the A's are unraveling now. So I should have gone 4 for 5. I went 2 for 3. Astros got beaten 9. Twins hit like 3 homers or something. They were on a roll, but I had the other 2 winners. How about the Pirates last night? Down 5-zip, come back, win the game, I think 11-7. Go Buccos, baby. Let's go. I didn't bet Philadelphia. The line was too high, and I just didn't have a good feeling about that game. You got to get a feel, right? I get baseball, I get hockey, I get feels. Football, no. Just whatever I bet the look at my bets in football, bet the exact opposite team. You're guaranteed to make money. It's so tough. 888-480-JOHN. What else are we talking about? Something fun, right? Corey Lewandowski. So John Thune up for re-election in 2028. So Corey says, okay, get this straight. So Corey says, well, we're going to have to primary, get him out of there, because that's all these people understand is electro defeat. Now, who in South Carolina does Corey Lewandowski know that might be available to run in a Republican primary against John Thune? Let's give this some thought. So let me put this out there to our audience. Google me. Google me, Corey. Why don't you let's just put this out. Let's throw it at Dan. Let's throw it at Dan Hobgood. He's pretty smart. By the way, Dan's coming here Thursday night. I got to get you your hotel, Dan. Remind me of that. Dan's coming here to be hanging with us, hanging with the crew on Thursday, hanging with the crew. So, Danny boy, who does Lewandowski know in South Dakota that might be that's got some time on her hands? That might be a good candidate to run against John Thune? You have any ideas, Dan?
Maybe it rhymes with Misty Rome.
Yes, you know what? Riddle me this, I say. Riddle me this. Who from South Dakota might have a little time on her hands that knows Corey, that has high name ID, that is 100% pro-Trump MAGA, that just might be a candidate to go up against Thune in a primary? Riddle me this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this job, baby. I love getting these people on. By the way, we got who we got coming on today. I'm loving my Mavericks. Okay, I'm loving my
Mountaineer Mavericks.
I'm loving my Mavericks. In fact, all of these things we do at 9, I had to drop the Texas 2-step because all my candidates got beat. So I dropped that. But they were great. Sorry about that. But I love these 9 a.m. things. Okay, although the Peach Crew is a little bit of a struggle. That's definitely a struggle bus. But Sally's doing a super job. I don't know what I do without her. It's taken from Marcy to Sally, all that time in between. So Marcy was the best. Sally's the best. But I'm digging that. I dig DC Dispatch. I love the Virginia Gang, although we canceled it for July. We just canceled it till August. We'll get back. But yeah, I mean, Corey Lewandowski. I think maybe we spend a little time there in South Dakota. What do you think, Dan?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause this here. Now, I share this. I don't very often share John Fredericks, but I wanted to share this because the latest information as of Sunday, Wendy Bell talked about that she will be joining the John Fredericks Network on August 17th, and she'll be having a time change from 12 to 3. She's going back a couple hours. It's going to be from 10 to 1, which is kind of odd hours there, but she'll be on 23 different radio stations if she's with the John Fredericks Network. So that's going to be good for her. She's going to get good exposure. I just wanted to give you a little feel of what John Fredericks is like. This will be in my daily news wrap-up if you want to see more of it. He's just kind of laid back, and talks about what's going on. He's got his opinions, as we all do. But let me go ahead and click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from the John Fredericks Network. All right. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And I gave Debbie BS a wave. Anybody else want to jump in the chat? That would be fantastic. Okay, scrolling down here, let's see what Benny Johnson has to say about Scott Presler announces his revenge against John Thune. John Thune seems to be a topic of conversation for having him arrested in South Dakota. Let's check it out.
Well, I do want to say one thing. I'm thankful for Senate Majority Leader Thune's staff from making the call to ban me because it exposed what's going on. A lot of people probably look at South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho as these bastions of conservatism, but it's true that we have a lot of still rhino establishment authoritarians in charge.
Yes.
And I want to say, Senate Majority Leader Thune, had you just allowed me to the event, I would have been a meek, quiet observer, that this wouldn't be a nationwide story right now. And because you moved to ban me, because you moved to shut me up and shut me out, our movement, trended on social media for nearly 24 consecutive hours as one of the top trends in America. And furthermore, even going to Walmart right after the event the next day, I had no fewer than 10 people, Benny, that came up to me and say, I saw what happened to you and it was wrong and shameful. So Senate Majority Leader Thune, in 24 hours, you helped me reach more voters than I could have personally knocked in 24 months. Thank you kindly, sir.
How dumb are these people? Because if just even the smallest amount of PR and image curation, if John Thune had just been staffed correctly, let's say I was working for John Thune and we were in this scenario and I wanted to make it go away, I would have had him sit down with you.
Yes.
Why not just take a photo? It doesn't need to be recorded. Maybe like say, hey, can we turn all the phones off?
Off the record.
Yes.
Off the record.
And have a staffer just snap a photo of John Thune and Scott Presler talking politely together. He's on your level. He sits down next to you and you guys just chat about the Save America Act. He explains where he's at. You explain where you're at. And that does more for John Thune's image than any press release, than any $100 million ad buy, right? That immediately fixes and it builds a bridge and it fixes something that's like this big wound for the base. But instead, I see him palling around. I saw him at the UFC 250, having a grand old time partying at the White House. like I said, a meeting with Scott Presler. It really is an insult, truly, to the base, and it's so mismanaged and so dumb. And they did go on social media and lie about you. And I can't stand that. I can't stand that when they lie and attack the base. John Cornyn did this to us a few years back, where he like savagely attacked us. And so that's just loser mentality, man. What would you have told him if he had done that? Let's say he'd been smart enough to do that. What would you have told him?
Here's my message. And I've had senators, and I'm not going to say who, tell me that I am demoralizing the base and I am going against the president. Well, the president has our back. He even canceled the Housing Act signing, and because of the Save America Act. So number one, the president supports this. And number two, I would say, dear Senate Majority Leader Thune, there is no greater demoralization to the base than for us to have all three branches of government and to have majorities and to not pass the very legislation after what we saw in the 2020 election to ensure that tragedies like that never happen again. And if you campaign on closing the border and securing our elections and stopping wars and deportations, and you do not deliver, then how can we expect to keep those majorities in the 2026 and beyond elections if you do not deliver? And really, that's what I would say to him. It is a worse demoralization for us to not deliver on behalf of the American people. And if I may say one last thing.
Please.
Look at the difference between how the Senate is acting right now and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. To anyone who says anything, look at what we did with McCarthy. We replaced McCarthy and we got an upgrade. Speaker Mike Johnson, for whatever people will say about him, he's about to pass the Save America Act for the fourth time with one of the most narrow majorities in American history in the House. And yet he's able to coalesce Scott Perry and Mike Lawler all in the same spectrum and get that broad, diverse House coalition together on bills. And if the House can do it, then I have no doubt that the Senate can do it. And it shows the difference in leadership styles. And I hope that our Senate, with the few remaining months that we have, because they're about to go on vacation again, Benny. They have pretty much the month of August off. I hope that the Senate gets its act together on behalf of we, the American people.
What an insult to the base to come after you. What an insult to the intelligence of the American people. And everybody sees themselves as you, Scott, because you're representing the will of 90% of the party here, or more, probably more like 100. And to ban you, to make sure that you are the one dissenting voice. I mean, I just don't know how you can come out and say you're for free speech. I don't know how you can come out and say you're for free assembly if you're doing something like this to Scott Presler. You can't. It's antithetical. It doesn't work. And people aren't stupid anymore. People don't believe the press releases. Like I saw everything they were saying about you, and these people, the John Thune staffers, were getting dragged and ratioed for their lies.
And community noted. That's the best part. They got community notes on their own post too because of the videos.
Really quickly, Scott, because we have Tina Peters coming up next, and I'm like really excited to talk with her. Both of you are just like patriot fighters for free elections. What is the way to get this passed in the remaining months that we have? Because nobody knows what's going to happen in 26.
Thank you.
What is the way to get this passed?
A couple different ways. Some people are advocating for it to be attached to Budget Reconciliation 3.0. That's perhaps one pass. There even talk about changing the language of it to allow for federal grants to the states to provide for IDs to especially our beautiful impoverished communities. So Budget Recon 3.0. Number 2 is the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA. Number 3 is FISA, Section 702. All of those. And how about a fourth way? Attach it to every other piece of legislation, including banning stack trading. Attach the Save America Act to every piece of legislation coming out of the House and force the Senate to vote on it. And last thing, Mike Lee's amendment on budget recon 2.0, which was just proof of citizenship and photo voter ID, that did get 50 votes, including Susan Collins of Maine. Anyone who says that this doesn't have the votes is lying to you and is being disingenuous. The Mike Lee amendment on budget recon 2.0 did in fact get 50 votes.
We will keep pushing, Scott. We'll keep fighting, and we are thrilled that you're not in jail somewhere in South Dakota.
Thank you. Me too.
All right, there you have it. You know, John Thune, it's like he wants to get his ass kicked out of the Senate. Now, you know, I don't know if they're dumb enough to vote that guy in as the Republican leader, whether they be the majority or the minority. I tend to think that based on some of the information that I've shared with you, that the Republicans are going to do okay in the Senate as long as we can keep the cheating down. Now, there's 17 states that's going to give us a problem, but then again, I think, you know, that Donald Trump is planning some kind of a situation where he might be having ICE agents kind of hang out at the voting places. I don't know if that'll happen or not. I've heard some rumors about that. I know the Democrats are talking about it, and they don't want that to happen because they can't get their illegal aliens in to vote. Unbelievable. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and let's see what Matt Morse TV has to say. Folks, this changes everything. Okay, let's check that out. Sorry, the audio's not coming through on this. I'm going to go ahead and refresh it. Sorry.
Court. Ladies and gentlemen, complete and total chaos inside of the U.S. Supreme Court this morning. First off, the Supreme Court has just issued a ruling that has just effectively destroyed and gutted the deep state. Then Another massive ruling coming out of the Supreme Court this morning. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett has pretty much just betrayed this republic. We're going to break all of it down, folks. First off, let's talk about the good news. Breaking news this morning, the Supreme Court has just ruled that President Trump does, in fact, have the executive authority to fire, to get rid of federal bureaucrats without cause. Folks, why is this a big deal? This victory in the Supreme Court here this morning is pretty much the deep state's worst nightmare, doomsday for the deep state. Let me tell you why. You see, we need to look back through American history, all the way back in the year 1935. What is that, 90 years ago? 91 years ago, the Supreme Court issued an absolutely terrible decision, a terrible ruling that pretty much effectively prevented the President of the United States from terminating federal employees at his sole discretion. He wasn't allowed to fire federal employees without cause. And what this ruling this morning did, what this ruling back in 1935 did, is pave the way for the creation of what is now known as the deep state, a collective of unelected federal bureaucrats that the president, whoever it might be at the time, could not get rid of, couldn't fire them, couldn't touch them. It effectively created a secondary shadow government that was beholden to absolutely no one. But you see, that entire dynamic has just come crashing down to a sudden end, thanks to today's victory in the Supreme Court. Now, as of this morning, the president, in this case, President Trump, can pretty much get rid of whoever he wants, whenever he wants, without cause. Folks, this is deep state doomsday. Now, President Trump himself chimed in on this, letting us know what he thinks. He says this, and I quote, "To show the importance of the slaughter case," that's this one here, 90 years of precedent has been officially, completely, and unequivocally overruled, greatly increasing presidential power at a time when it is needed. And is it needed now more than ever? Yes, we've got a little bit of a deep state problem for those of you that have been following along. Trump went on to say, today's historic slaughter decision in the Supreme Court is the greatest increase in presidential power in the last 100 years. Such a monumental ruling at such an important time. And of course, it's like, yeah, President Trump. Guess what the president is? He's the CEO of the executive branch. Okay, we got three different branches. Trump is in charge. The president is in charge of the executive branch. Yeah, if you're the CEO of the executive branch, you get to fire people in the executive branch. Hasn't been able to do that for 90 years. Now, as of today, the president actually can do it. Now, on that note, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis chimes in, quoting a little thing called the U.S. Constitution, Article 2. The quote is this: "The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America." Article 2, U.S. Constitution. Yep, Ron DeSantis says there are only three branches of government. There can be no concentration of power outside of this constitutional structure. Once again, Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution says executive power shall be vested to the president, nobody else, not some fourth unelected shadow deep state branch of government. Nobody even knows what it is. Those days are over. Now, we also have this report I want you to take a look at. Check this out. And this is where we get to some of the bad news. Okay? Let's go ahead and talk about the bad news. The Supreme Court this morning just ruled that states across the country may count mail-in ballots received long after Election Day. We were hoping that they would not do this. We were hoping the Supreme Court would shut this down. Election Day means election day, not election week, not election month, not election year, not election decade. Election day. Well, the Supreme Court disagrees in a 5-4 ruling. Congress must act, this report says. The Save America Act is needed to protect our elections and restore confidence in the process. Yeah, now we have a report here breaking this down. Take a listen.
Some breaking news. U.S. Supreme Court, a decision is now in on a challenge led by Republicans to late arriving ballots in elections. Shannon Bream has the ruling. She's got the news and the headline now from the U.S. Supreme Court.
Let's break it down.
Shannon.
All right, guys, this is not a win for Republicans who were challenging this. Mississippi has a state law which allows ballots to be counted, mail-in ballots after Election Day. If they come in, they're postmarked and meet the state requirements, but it is a 5-4 loss for Republicans. And an interesting cobbling together of who wrote on this. Justice Barrett wrote the opinion. Justice Roberts joined her along with Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. So those 5 stuck together on this. The dissent comes from Justice Alito. Thomas Gorsuch and Kavanaugh joined him. And essentially what the majority said is that these federal statutes setting Election Day don't prescribe or they don't stand in conflict with states that want to say, okay, we have a procedure to count ballots after Election Day. Justice Alito, writing for the dissent, says today's decision is inconsistent with the terms of the Election Day statutes, contemporary election law principles, 2 centuries of historical practice, and the case law on the question presented. So if you're a state out there that counts ballots after Election Day based on your state law, that state law will stand. We wait on more opinions now, guys. More to
Folks, this is perhaps one of the single worst Supreme Court rulings in all of American history. I'll be honest, because what this does, imagine a state, imagine California, for instance. We're going to pick on California. Imagine they pass a state level law that says, well, actually, in federal elections, we're going to, on a state level, we are allowing ourselves to count ballots for 3 months after Election Day. The Supreme Court has just said, well, it's state law, and that's the new rule. So I guess everybody has to wait. Folks, this is absolute insanity. Like I said, one of the single worst Supreme Court opinions, rulings, to ever come out in all of U.S. history. Now, Alito, we love him. He wrote the opinion dissent, the dissent opinion. He writes this, and I quote, allowing absentee ballots to pour in over the days and weeks after Election Day, by which point preliminary election results are being publicly reported, creates greater opportunity for fraud and risks further undermining the public's confidence in election integrity. This is Alito. He was dissenting against this terrible decision out of the Supreme Court. Do you agree with him? Yeah, he is 100% right. Yes. This is, dare I say, stupid. You've got 5 justices on the Supreme Court. I guess they don't know what day means. What is a day? What is a man? What is a woman? What is a recession? The Democrats don't know, or they didn't know during the Biden era. What is a day? Good Lord. Now, of course, perhaps the biggest disappointment of this entire situation here is Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who Trump personally picked. He chose her during his first term. Amy Coney Barrett this morning has pretty much just turned her back on the Republic, really just paving the way for voter fraud. Take a look at this. Just in this morning, there she is. Mass outrage is erupting amongst conservative Americans against SCOTUS Justice Amy Coney Barrett after she decided to uphold mail-in ballot election month rather than reinforce an election day nationwide. A serious disappointment. At this point, listen, all 5 of these justices led by Amy Coney Barrett, they've got to put on white makeup and put on a tie-dye wig and put on a red clown nose. Honk, honk. You're a clown. These people are clowns. Folks, it is insane that our highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, is making decisions like this. They can't even determine what a day is. This is absolutely insanity. Now, of course, today, the conversation pertaining to the Save America Act is getting reignited, as if it ever wasn't. Because really the only way to shut down this election week or election month or election year dynamic is to have a piece of legislation passed through Congress like the Save America Act to help secure our elections. So President Trump responds to all of this by saying this, and I quote, this morning, in light of the tremendous loss in the Supreme Court today concerning voters' rights and the fact that people's votes are allowed to be counted long after the election is over, it is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act. Now, note here, Trump, he puts quotation marks around people's votes. Why does he do that? He says, and the fact that people's votes are allowed to be counted long after. Why does he put quotation marks around the word people's? It's because we know this is voter fraud. They're not the Democrats in these blue states like California, Oregon, Washington, all over the damn place. They're not counting actual, real American votes. No. Anytime it looks like a conservative might end up winning an election, like Spencer Pratt, for instance, hello, in Los Angeles, anytime it looks like he's coming up, he's making his way through the cycle. Oh, what's that? A week after Election Day, they find another box of 100,000 mail-in ballots. Well, what would you know? I'll be a monkey's uncle. This is a tale as old as time. That's why Trump is putting quotation marks around the word peoples. Anyway, the Save America Act is this. All voters must show photo ID. Yep. All voters must show proof of citizenship. Yep. And no mail-in ballots, except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. Okay, fair. Trump says, there is no excuse for a politician or otherwise to be against the above three requirements. There's only one reason to oppose: cheating. Yep. The House of Representatives has approved this vital act 3 times. The U.S. Senate seems unable to do so. In a time when there is a powerful communist movement taking place in our country, one more dangerous than World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, and September 11th, all the Democrats and our 5 Republican Senate holdouts, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, and Mitch McConnell, must vote to save our country. There can be no more excuses. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump is done playing games. Trump is saying, listen, when we've got a communist uprising in our country, do we? Yes, we do. When we have a literal communist uprising in our country, we don't have time to be playing games like this. We don't have time to be, allowing states participating in federal elections, mind you, to be counting ballots a week or 2 or a month after the fact. If you want to make an argument about a state's right to count their ballots or count their votes the way they want to do it, okay, maybe you can make that argument about state or local elections. Your state, do it your way. As much as I don't even like that, still, it's voter fraud. Okay, it's a state election. It's a local city election, whatever. We're talking about states participating in federal elections, okay? This Supreme Court ruling has just allowed states to do whatever they want with their elections while participating in elections that influence the outcome and the structure of our entire nation. This is a massive problem. We need the Save America Act more than ever. That's what it's going to take if we want to shut this stuff down. Now, at least today, we did have one big ruling coming out of the court. The deep state, I'll tell you what, they are about to get gutted. Okay, gutted like a fish plucked out of the water in a figurative way, mind you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. It's got like 5 seconds left in this video. But yeah, I can't argue with him. Let me jump over here and show you that this video does come from Matt Morse TV. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty, let's jump back here. And sorry about the audio not coming through. I mean, I clicked the play on it and shared the page, just like I do every other video that I share with you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's a little glitch in Rumble Studio. I don't know what the hell. But at any rate, let's see what Wendy Bell has to say about the Democrats' Kryptonite. Ooh, that sounds like fun. All right, let's go, Wendy.
For all. Amen. If we could look at anything these final days of this particular session of the Supreme Court, if we can extrapolate anything from their rulings, it is not just that Donald Trump is not a king. It is not just that the GOP is a rubber stamp for whatever Donald Trump wants. It is not just that we are not just sycophants who are riding a red wave. It is that there is no such thing as extreme MAGA republicanism. It's called love of country. And Hakeem Jeffries and others have conflated that subject. In a blow to, I think, every common sense America, moments ago, the Supreme Court ruled Donald Trump, gave him a decisive blow in a 6-3 vote saying that, yes, if you're a foreigner, whether you're an illegal alien, if you're somebody from another country who's traveling here, if you're a birth tourist who got pregnant and came to the United States specifically to have your baby give birth on American soil, your child, those kids are American citizens. That is not what the framers intended, for sure. Who voted along with the three liberal justices? Amy Coney Barrett, yet again. John Roberts, the Chief Justice, yet again. And Brett Kavanaugh, who left a little breadcrumb trail, which is very interesting. I think that sometimes, though our conservative justices don't always vote in lockstep, in fact, almost never do, every now and again, somebody like a Kavanaugh or a Gorsuch will join an opinion that you kind of disagree with. This I bigly disagree with. So that in their opinion, they can write the roadmap that astute congressmen and women and senators can pay attention to challenge constitutionally through the Congress and constitutional amendments, which go to all of the states, to challenge that ruling. And I think that's exactly what happened. I want to read to you what I believe is a very good explanation and what's coming next from the man I believe unequivocally, and have for some time now, should be the next Supreme Court Justice, Senator Eric Schmitt from Missouri. I want to read you what he wrote. I don't normally give up a monologue. This is worth it. This is what he writes. The Supreme Court's birthright citizenship decision is wrong, dangerous, and disastrous for American sovereignty and the American people. If we can't fix it with ordinary legislation, then we must do what the Constitution commands in moments of national crisis. We must amend the Constitution and restore American citizenship. We must again put we the people first. The Supreme Court's decision constitutionalizing unlimited birthright citizenship for the children of illegal aliens and temporary present aliens is wrong and disastrous for our sovereignty and the future of our republic. The decision exposes America to grave national security risks and threatens to erode the integrity of the core of American self-government, citizenship. Citizenship is more than paperwork issued by the government. It is more than a bureaucratic label that grants access to government programs. Citizenship is the covenantal bond between a nation and its people. In a republic like ours, Senator Eric Schmitt writes, that bond carries enormous weight. In the United States, sovereignty does not belong to a king or a ruling class. It belongs to the American people themselves. Citizenship defines the legal recognition of who the American people are. Citizenship defines the political community that governs the United States. It defines who exercises the sovereign authority of this republic. But under the Supreme Court's erroneous interpretation, the Constitution now requires citizenship for anyone who happens to be born on U.S. soil, even if their parents entered the country illegally. In other words, even if the American people, the citizenry, have prohibited those parents from entering our territory, even if they're here temporarily as tourists or on student visas, even if they have no intention of joining the American nation. That is a dramatic departure from how serious nations understand citizenship. Under the Supreme Court's decision, citizenship no longer reflects allegiance or loyalty to a country and its laws. It becomes an administrative status to be seized by interlopers. This ruling is the final alarm bell. The bond of American citizenship has slowly eroded through a series of Supreme Court opinions, congressional actions, and inactions, and circumstances that the framers of our Constitution and the 14th Amendment could not have foreseen. The result is a constitutional order in which the American people are losing control over the most basic question in any republic: who belongs to the political community that governs the nation? This has been the central fight of my work in this important year for American national identity. Again, this is written by Senator Eric Schmitt moments ago. I led an amicus brief in this very case. I convened a hearing on birthright citizenship and the meaning of the 14th Amendment. I have pressed this issue because citizenship is the threshold question of the republic. If we lose control of it, we lose control of self-government itself. In the wake of an erroneous Supreme Court ruling like this one, Congress has a duty to examine the Constitution's text, the historical record, and the policy consequences. Congress also has the power to respond. When the court mistakenly interprets a statute, Congress can amend the statute through bicameralism and presentment. But when the court entrenches its mistake as a constitutional command, the remedy must match the injury. Congress can propose an amendment under Article 5, and the states can ratify it. That process is purposefully difficult. It requires 2/3 of each chamber of Congress and ratification by 3/4 of the states. Here, the Supreme Court issued a constitutional ruling. Ordinary legislation cannot repair the damage. A constitutional amendment is now required. Accordingly, I will be announcing a forthcoming constitutional amendment to restore the sacred bond between American citizens and their government. That amendment will restore the original American understanding of citizenship. It will restore the right of the American people to define their own political community, and it will ensure that citizenship once again reflects allegiance, permanence, and membership in the American nation. Today is a sad day in the history of our republic, but America and the Constitution have survived for 250 years because each generation has had patriots who, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, valiantly fought back the existential threats this great nation has faced. Our generation's existential threat is a hostile takeover through mass migration. We must and we will honor the patriots who came before us by doing our part to ensure we pass on America, the Constitution, and our nation, the real versions, not desiccated husks. And that work begins with restoring the right of the American people to decide who joins the political community that governs the United States and exercises the people's sovereignty. Yes. 100%. These are the moments, ladies and gentlemen, that call people who have been slumbering, who have been quiet in the shadows, who've waited for somebody else to take the bullets and the barbs to rise up and join the ranks of the proud, the mighty, the Americans. Are you in or are you out? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Chuck Schumer is not having a good day today, you guys. I know, poor Chuck. Hopefully he's barbecuing some burgers for the 4th. We'll talk about what Harry Enton says is going on with Chucky next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All right, well, that sounds like some good news. Let's come up here and check this out.
$200.
All right.
Isn't it so wild that the left have been howling for the past decade about how Trump is this and he wants that and he's a dictator and he's a king? And it's the Democrat Party. He's like, we're totally going to stack the court. We're going to pack it with all sorts of liberals. We're going to expand the size of the country so we add more states, so we pick up more representation. We're going to bring in millions of people who don't belong here, including rapists, murderers, cartel members, human traffickers, all those people. Like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. As long as we can get them across the finish line and to vote, to be counted, right? Like we're all going to Bethlehem to be counted. That's how it's going to work. Can you think of anything more un-American than every single daggone thing those people on the left talk about? And now their chickens have come home to roost. Oh, Chuck Schumer is, I guess, the Democrats' kryptonite. If you're a moderate Democrat right now, your head is in the guillotine and the guy with the strings getting itchy. Right? Because they're coming for you. They don't care who you are. You're just going to get swept up in this wave of socialism, communism, Marxism, crazy. And this is a wild bit of numbers from Harry Enton over at CNN. He's at the screen and he's like, my goodness, Chuck Schumer's favorability. This guy was the head of the freaking Senate, and now people can't stand him. He is the ultimate kryptonite everybody's trying to get away from. And this is what he says in audio soundbite number 1. Look, the Democratic Party has fundamentally changed, and it's fundamentally changed in like 1 month. Listen.
It's no longer the overall electorate that doesn't like Chuck Schumer. Look at this change among Democrats themselves. Chuck Schumer's net favorable rating with Dems now versus the last time Democrats were going for that Senate majority. In early 20, look at this. Chuck Schumer was 40 points above water, very much on the positive side of the ledger with Democrats. Look at this. Look at this change. This is nuts. Johnny B off on the side going, my goodness gracious. Now he's a point underwater with Democrats. Chuck Schumer isn't unpopular overall. He is that. He's not just that. He's actually not popular with Democrats.
He's not popular with Democrats. All of that's changing. I mean, and we're watching this complete, like, it's sort of like the caterpillar has made the cocoon. And unfortunately, they're coming out not as a beautiful butterfly, but as like the ugly LGBTQIA plus flag, right? It's coming out as a kaleidoscope of vomit. And it's called basically socialism, communism. It's where we're going. And if you're not extreme enough, if you don't have wild enough ideas, if you don't hate Jews enough, literally, that is a metric now of this super fringe but growing in momentum socialist left. This is I want to talk to you about these numbers from New York Democrats. They're screaming primary challenger for Chuck Schumer, who just a matter of years ago was the dude in charge with the gavel. Listen.
Look at this. Okay. New York Dems who view Chuck Schumer favorably. Again, in early 2020, it was 75%, 3 and 4 Democrats. Now it is less than half. Less than half of Democrats in Chuck Schumer's home state of New York, 47% who view him favorably. This is part of a larger picture in which Democrats are turning against their leadership. They are specifically turning against Chuck Schumer. He is actually underwater nationally with Democrats. And even in his own home state of New York, the Empire State, he can't even reach 50% favorable rating.
Now, you heard what I said about Democrats taking an increasingly anti-Jewish stance. Now, they've been this way for a while, which has always baffled us about how Jews can vote Democrat. These things don't work together. They just don't, period. And if Josh Shapiro thinks in Pennsylvania he has like caviar dreams of being president one day, I'm sorry to tell you, brother, ain't gonna happen. They will not let it happen. I want you to hear Scott Wiener. This is the nutbag in California who pushed the legislation that if a man wanted to have sex with a child, well, if it was a 16 or a 17-year-old, that's okay. I mean, let's just make that a misdemeanor. A felony seems kind of punitive. That guy who wants to be Nancy Pelosi's heir apparent and take her spot in the House. That guy who is as whatever flaming you can be in the LGBTQIA plus crowd goes to a transgender event over the weekend and is literally attacked by his own crowd that Dr. Frankenstein created. Here's Scott Wiener, and he's just basically realizing he's being hunted now, and that's scary as nuts.
Here it was different. I went to the park to attend the trans march, attending a trans-led Pride Shabbat first. And these folks ran towards me and swarmed around me. A few of them touched me, and they were, screaming at me while they were doing it and trying to bully me and intimidate me out of the park. And I ended up leaving because it wasn't safe for me to remain. They were also lying about my record on Gaza. They were talking about how I have, quote unquote, Israeli handlers, which is a classic anti-Semitic trope, Jews having dual loyalty and not being loyal to the U.S. And it was just well beyond free speech, and it's really harmful to democracy.
Harmful to democracy. Now you know what it feels like to be an ICE agent. Scott, now you know what it feels like to be a police officer during your 2020 George Floyd riots. Now you know what it feels like to be a pro-life Republican. Scott, you know who wasn't in that crowd? Heckling you, harassing you, threatening you, touching you? Republicans. You created monsters on the left, folks. They're not coming for the right. They're coming for you. And that should scare the everlasting love out of you. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, what an absolute Democrat clusterball. You know, those who are not progressive enough are scrambling to show how extreme they are. So the communists they created by hating Trump, don't kick them out of the tent. You cannot make this up. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You know what I heard from MAGA?
I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. And this will be in my daily news wrap-up. So you'll get to see more of this. But she's on fire today, folks. Good information. Let me jump over here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio.
Pack it with.
This is the video I shared with you. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right. Let's jump back over here and let me copy these comments or these chats into a comment. Here we go. There we are. Okay, let's copy it. Here we go. Now those chats will be a permanent part of this video. Didn't get too many people chatting, just Foxy Grandma and Debbie BS. Go ahead and give me a chat, folks, if you got something on your mind. But let me remind you that these videos that I've shared with you are videos that come directly from the producer. I have the links to the videos here in the description box, as well as the links to the producer's channel. And these videos that I've shared with you here are videos that I've posted over on Murtech.com. All right, I've got over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos right here at your fingertips. I do all the surfing for you. All you have to do is come over here and click. Click and watch. Okay, the link to Murtech.com is in the description box. It's a free site. You're pretty much anonymous when you come over here. You don't have a bunch of ads popping up in your face. Great information. Now, you know, I'd like to share all of this information with you, but unfortunately I don't have the time to do so. And that's why I've put together my Murtech Daily News Wrap-Up. Okay? I have, it says I have 18 videos in here, about 9 or 10 hours worth of information. We're going to start off with Wendy Bell where we left off. Also, we've got some Bongino report with Vince, On the Fringe, We the People News, X22 report, Steve Dace. Here's the John Fredericks video that I said I was going to include in it. So, that being said, we've got some great information here. I hope you can join us for that. Now, this evening, we will, after midnight, we will be Rumble Premium. Okay, if you're a Rumble Premium member, you won't notice a thing. If you're not a Rumble Premium member, you need to do so because I've got some great information that is only going to be for Rumble Premium members. But with that being said, go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut or a sandwich and a soft drink, maybe even a beer or a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 minutes or so I can get this set up in Rumble Studio. But with that being said, I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.